International Affairs, together with the Department of International Relations and Cooperation and the U.S. Consulate in Johannesburg, recently held the regional finals of the Environmental Sustainability Project, a competitive youth program aimed at getting high school students to engage in environmental research. This year's project was themed Road to COP17 and focused on climate change. The top learners from each province will be chosen to form a delegation attending the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Durban. At the regional finals held on the 1st of September at the Saibono Discovery Center, we spoke to some of the participating students about their thoughts on climate change and lessons learned from the project. That your project was on food security. Can you just explain a little bit more about what you found out about food security, and also secondly, how that impacts your lives now that you know a little bit more about that?
Well, we looked at food security and how countries are suffering because of climate change, so that's floods and droughts that are being experienced, and how they're not having access to the food.
We also looked at through our project, we focused a lot on developing countries and developed countries. For example, we looked at Africa in comparison to America. And as we focused more on the project, we realized that developing countries are still struggling to actually face or combat food security.
Another thing you asked was how it affects us now that we know about it. I think how personally it has affected me is that now I see things I saw with a far-sighted eye. Now I see like it with a much knowledged eye. Like, for example, prices and places that are dry farms and things like that. Now I understand more about what is happening and how it's affecting the people around me and myself.
Also, to add on the second question, when we looked at it, we were initially looking at, well, one of the sides was looking at how policies create that. And something that's actually made me think more broadly about is I pay attention to the news and I pay attention to the events that are happening, the decisions our leaders are making, and particularly what African leaders are doing, because I am living in Africa. And although South Africa is at the bottom of the continent, we are a global community, and we do have to know about what impact our country has and what other countries have on us. And so therefore just being aware of the policies that have been written and the lives that are being touched and becoming closer to a global community.
So in our presentation, we're going to be talking about addressing global warming from the grassroots. So we are looking at an approach of dealing with global warming not from a global point, but of engaging people in the most rural areas, remote townships and so on, for them to also be involved, because we realized that one of the reasons why global warming strategies do not work as well in South Africa or Southern Africa is because some of the strategies are really so much on a national scale that by the time they have to get to the people whom it matters most to, which is the people in rural areas, the message has already been shattered, or someone somewhere in the pipeline did not do what they were supposed to do. So we are encouraging a focus on engaging people at the grassroots level, because they are the most affected, and as well they are the ones who can actually make a significant role to at least survive the consequences if they can't cut down CO2 emissions. You'd like to add?
In addition to what she has said, we are into practical concepts. We don't just want to focus on policies. We want people to take charge of this concept called climate change by themselves. We want everybody to put hands together and work towards a better community.
You can help.
We also, the practical solutions that we talking about is the yoke planting method and hemp, especially that of hemp, which is a very controversial topic because of the misconceptions it has to relation to marijuana. So just clearing up some misconceptions and showing how practical these can be, and show how people like your usual Joe in the street can actually do bring their own input in changing their lives, not just their communities.
Things like these give young people hope. This ESP project, it gives young people the courage and the hope to actually go out and make a difference. But also getting your school involved and your family, that's also how you can make your difference in tackling climate change.
And I think I agree with Kloki's statement. We should be getting people involved. And it's a good thing to get people involved because you feel more a part of the community, and it's not as if you're working by yourself. You have a lot of people behind you backing you up, which makes it all the more fun. You meet new people, you go further in life just knowing what you know, just by being a part of something that will make a huge change in society as time goes by.
How to take care of the environment and how it takes care of us.
I think the first thing that we learned is working together. It was a bit of a problem doing a group work and not working individually, and somehow we managed to pull it off and work together, and we learned a lot of things involving the environment and how to take care of it, as she has said.
I think we've learned a lot of things, like we have to take care of our environment, and it is very much clear that as young as we are, we can change the world.
And if we take care of the environment, it will take care of us too.
I think with the topic of fresh water, we have realized that it is a resource that is running out, and just doing the day-to-day things of saving water, showering instead of bathing, and also looking at the environment around us, not polluting water, trying to speak to the people around us to educate them about the issues around water, pollution, the environment, and everything that affects this. I don't know if my team wants to add.
Like, even with your friends around you at school, you try say, guys, actually today is summer day, a spring day, everybody just wants to splash water around. But today we decided that no, guys, we're going to educate our friends that this is not how to go about with this certain issue, because we want our children to actually have water, because truth is, water is running out.
And considering the youth of South Africa, I think that it is important to create an awareness to them. And the way in which this can be carried out is also through social networks. I believe every single teenager out there is very aware of the implications of wasting water. Would you like your children and children's children not to have any water in the years to come?
Okay. And finally, there are a lot of different theories on climate change and global warming. What did you come about in your research, and from that, what is your definition of climate change?
Okay. My definition of climate change would be that because of the fact that we're surrounded by so much pollution and that we're damaging our environment, we're causing crazy rain patterns. And if you have noticed during the course of this year, this winter in comparison to last winter was definitely not the same. And this is the effect that you are having on this earth. We need to act now because we do need to change our ways.
Even with the mine processes, the pollution, and neither does the government or the mine owners want to take financial responsibility for what we are doing to our water. So it's things like that as well.
Also, with the research that we've done, we saw that there are lots of theories, as you have mentioned before, on climate change and alleviating the problem. We found that these solutions could all work together as one, because not one problem can solve not one solution can solve this problem, but all of them working together could make a better world. And all of us holding hand by hand and working at our best to do the best that we can to alleviate the problem of climate change, and doing the best research that we can, frequent information and learning and water management, such things as that can help us with just trying to do the best that we can with the environment.